They were really.
Show you what we're going to do for the week because I realized I didn't send this out to you. I actually was up late last night trying to get it done. So what we're going to do today is we're going to continue our discussion and continue looking at the different cultures. So that article, A Brilliant Plan for Living. So we're going to look at our boxes and bullets organizer. And then tomorrow, I need to switch this. This is going to be an asynchronous day. So tomorrow we don't actually have to meet. I'm going to have a video. It's a video with the module that the lady who we kind of saw an introduction with. You're gonna just have to watch the video, and then you're going to complete these vocabulary words in your Notability. So let's prepare that right now. So let's go to our vocabulary journal, and we are on the 3rd page. This is page number 3, and tomorrow is going to be the 12th. So let's just prepare that for tomorrow. 1-12, and then this is going to be module, we'll say 1.3 vocabulary. I say 1.3 because it's lesson 3. But if you do module 1, I'll be okay with that too. Okay. And you know what? Why don't we put these vocabulary words in here? We've got undetermined institutions. Undetermined institutions. Treaty superseded. Ooh, that's a big word. Treaty superseded. Gosh, I haven't heard that word in a long time. Invasions and disputes. Okay, so that's going to be tomorrow. And you will need to just write the meaning. And if you want to find synonyms already, you're more than welcome to. But you'll just have to watch the video and work on vocabulary. Okay, so we will not actually meet. I will be here. So if you do have questions, I did end up getting all of your grades updated this morning before school. So you can check your grades. And if you've got extra time, I would like you to complete any work. If you look on Wednesday, that is also going to be, that is a no new learning day for some of us. So you will also need to work on any missing work. Each day, getting back into the swing of it, I want you to read at least 30 minutes, okay? So, yes, Jacob?
Yesterday my grandma came over and dropped a kid's encyclopedia for me.
Ooh, that's exciting. A funny story. I never grew up with an encyclopedia. I grew up with lots of books, but not an encyclopedia. I had a friend in college who thought everybody grew up with a giant, big thing of encyclopedias. And she just found out when she went to college that not everybody has an encyclopedia. So I used to like looking at them and learning new things in the library. But we also have the internet nowadays, which kind of helps us. Okay, so just to review, we're going to continue stuff today. Tomorrow you will have a video. I'm going to record it and put it on here. And then I want you to finish your vocabulary. So we just kind of got it started. We just put the words in. You can put the meanings in. And if you want to use a thesaurus or encyclopedia and start the synonyms, you can. The rest of the time, then on Tuesday and Wednesday, I want you to complete any missing work. Each day, today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I want you to read for 30 minutes. Okay? Then on Thursday, we are going to come back together. We're going to have a lesson together. So this one we're going to do together. And we're going to look at a different way of organizing our text. And we're going to read a new article on our Native Americans. And then if you notice a pattern, we usually do vocabulary, watch a video, and then we do something together as a class. So again, on Friday, you're going to watch the video. They don't have vocabulary, but I'm going to have a quick discussion, okay? Riley, did you have a question?
Yeah. So we don't have a meeting tomorrow at 11?
No, we don't. So actually, let me update this. That way it shows for you. So synchronous, remember, means that we're going to do stuff together, okay? So actually, we're only going to meet twice this week. So tomorrow, I'm going to type it. I'm going to write asynchronous. Actually, it looks like it's got, we'll do it different colors. Sometimes I'm a visual person. So,
Meeting on Friday either?
yeah. So Tuesday, asynchronous. You're going to watch the video, complete the vocabulary. Wednesday is always asynchronous. Thursday, we're together. And then Friday is asynchronous as well. Okay? There is stuff that you will have to do. am going to be here online. So if for some reason you're like, Sonera Werzinger, can you help me with this? Please come online and I'd be more than happy to help. So I'm still going to be online here and I'm going to be here to help people out if you need help. But yes, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday are going to be asynchronous. I expect the next week then we'll probably be in person synchronous more together. But it's going to be starting to be out a little bit more every other day that we're going to be together as a class or not together as a class. Okay? So beautiful. Next week too, I think we have Martin Luther King next week. And then actually, I think they switched it so we don't have school on the 19th and the 20th. So we're actually only together for a couple times next week. So something to be aware of. For today, I would like you to open your homework assignment, which was the boxes and bullets organizer. And you were supposed to read this section, these two paragraphs on creators, and fill in the main idea and key details. Okay? Hopefully you did that. While you open that, I am going to read this section, and then I want you guys, in just a moment, you're going to help me figure out what to write in my boxes and bullets organizer, because we might have multiple different things and we might have similar things. So while you open your boxes and bullets organizer, I'm going to reread the section on creators. For the people of the Indian country, creation was not a distant event. Okay? They believed the world was a product of ongoing creative acts involving many supernatural forces. Okay, so just to give you perspective, in Christianity, they are mono God. Oh my goodness, what? I'm blanking on the actual term, but they only believe in one God that created things. In Islam, they believe in one God that creates things. With Greek history, they had many, many different gods, like Zeus and Poseidon. With the Native Americans, they had a lot of deities, that's the word I want, as well. And they thought they created different supernatural forces. Okay, so theirs was based more on nature. So elders explained that the cosmic forces that made the world continued to be present above and beneath it. They told stories of spirit beings who wielded immense power affecting the weather, the hunt, the size of the harvest, and taught that creation was a complex and never-ending process, and that human beings were successful only if they acted with the assistance of the spirit world. Okay, so if they were able to if they helped or worked with the spirit world. So if they hunted a deer, it was the spirit of the deer that allowed them to have that food. The people of the Indian country communicated their values through stories of creation and tales of the spirit world. This oral, so out loud, literature was passed down from elders to young people and provided vivid lessons regarding the values they believed were essential for community well-being. Okay? So what I would like you to do, I'm going to switch privileges. I want you guys to tell me in the text box what were some, well, number one, what are some ideas in this? So not the main idea yet. I want you to tell me what are some key ideas. So what are some big things? So tell me in the text box. I see some hands raised. I want you to tell me in the text box. So what are some key details, kind of?
What's the text box?
Oh, sorry, your chat box.
Oh, because I don't able to.
Now you can. You should be able to. I re-abled it. So maybe re-click on it or click out and click back in. So what are some ideas? What are some key details about this paragraph that you guys ended up writing? So what did you have? I'm going to write them here. We might have different things. Or you can send it to me privately if it's not doing it to everyone. Ooh, I like that one. Okay. Are there other things that you guys wrote? Because you should have, your homework was to do just these two parts. Ooh.
I did on the other key detail. I put one of the key details of the main idea of come on, like the umbrella.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Ooh. I like these different things. That the elders told stories about their spirits or of their gods and what they created, taught them important things, told stories of spirit beings who wielded immense power affecting weather and more, lessons. Ooh. Awesome. So I'm just actually putting down some of the things that you wrote because these are all great ideas. So I don't expect you to have all of these. I only wanted you to write two. So let's do size 12. There we go. So ladies and gentlemen, in general, because I've got creation taught them things are important, that the elders told them stories, they talked about spirits who affected the weather and more, that it was a place for ongoing creativity. Creators, I would say, and I want you to tell me if you agree or disagree in the chat in just a second. I'm going to write for the main idea if, my notability is going to work for me. You going to work? No. Okay, so I'm going to say the main idea is something similar to Native Americans. Oh, my notability. Native Americans had many gods or creators. Well, I'm going to say creators that taught them how the world was made. Would you agree or disagree? Tell me in the chat. Do you agree with this main idea?
I have a question.
Yes. What is your question?
Would mine sort of be a key detail? This is my main idea of the creators. They believed the world was a product of ongoing creative acts involving many supernatural forces. So that's what I thought the main idea was.
I would count that. Yep. Because that is very similar to mine. If you have something similar, don't change it, you guys. I just ended up looking at your key ideas and kind of wrote down what I thought. But if you have something similar, Beautiful. Tell me in the chat if you agree with what I wrote or with what you have, or if you disagree. Awesome. I only have Harper, Maddie, Nora, Riley, and Baylin. Anybody else agree? I've got 20 people here. Ooh, some of you guys wrote theirs. I will also accept that. Ooh, thanks, Gabby and Winter. Anybody else agree? That's only half the class. Did the rest of you leave? Where'd you go? Come back. Okay, so beautiful. We are going to continue this, and we are going to read next as a class gifts. And what we're going to do is when we read the gifts part is if you've got this shown up, or as we do it, I want you to actually, let's underline some important things. I want you to, if you can't actually write on the screen, then I want you to just make note of where it is at in this paragraph, and let's highlight or underline. I'm going to actually highlight some key ideas that maybe I could put on my piece of paper. So I'm going to start out reading gifts. If you would like to read, I'm going to put hands down. If you would like to read, you can raise your hand, and I usually have you guys read a paragraph. So I'm going to start reading, and then you guys, if you would like to continue reading next, you can. And I'm going to highlight as I read some important key details, and I want you to do the same. So gifts. Gift giving and reciprocal generosity were central to the values that bound community members to each other and to the natural and spirit world. You guys, I'm gonna highlight a couple of these too, because there's some big words. So I'm gonna, just like we were doing with the other ones, I'm going to identify some words that I don't really know, and maybe we can, or some big words, and we're going to talk about them too. Riley, do you want to read the next paragraph?
So, people in the Indian country believed that it was wise to show respect and gratitude to the spirits being, offering them presents and prayers, gifts from creators, healthy children, good crops, and successful hunt, called the gifts in return.
Ooh, nice. Okay, Harper, could you read the last paragraph? Or this second paragraph, or third paragraph?
The steady flow of generosity within and between communities also
Facilitated
social harmony. In villages and hunting bands, people organized their lives to discourage greed and draw individuals into a web of mutual support. Travelers, diplomats, and traders would greet their hosts with gifts. Their hosts would offer them gifts in return, fostering long and peaceable relationships.
Wonderful. Okay, so I highlighted some big words here that are a little bit confusing. Is there any words that I missed that you guys think that you didn't know about, or that you want me to explain a little bit better? Okay, so I'm going to talk about some of these words before we find those key details, because I feel like some of these words you need to know in order to understand what this paragraph is about. So gift giving and reciprocal generosity. That means reciprocal is actually kind of like, I think of it as like a circle. So if I give you something, I'm expecting you to kind of help out in return. So it's kind of like a circle, or people helping those that helped them. Okay, so if I give it to you, you're going to give it back. Okay, so reciprocal, kind of in a circle. Generosity, the steady flow of generosity, or you could say like gift giving, or like being friendly, I think of. So generosity, so being willing to help. I'm going to actually type this. So generosity is like being willing to help. So if I'm being generous, I'm going to give you a little bit extra, okay? Within and between communities also facilitated or helped organize a social harmony. So that means that their cities, they just kind of worked together because they were organized. In villages and hunting bands, people organized their life to discourage greed. So people that were just taking things for their own good. So I'm just going to write greed is like something for your own good. So doing it for like selfishness. Okay. So doing it for yourself is kind of like greed. Mutual is like both people. Both people, they both had a equal idea of support. So if we have a mutual understanding, we both are going to agree. Travelers, diplomats. So diplomats again are people like from the government. Okay, so like if we, oh yeah, a library is something, yes, a library is a reciprocal, I'm looking at your chats, is a reciprocal system because you give books and then they give out books to the community. Yep, and you give it back. Perfect. Yeah, so the government, so people, diplomats, so people from the government. They and traders would greet their hosts with gifts, and their hosts would offer them gifts in return. And fostering, I think of as like helping. So helping, long and peaceful, or like, I think of like when you're growing things. So like if you're going to plant something, you're going to
Making.
foster it. What was the word?
Making.
Say it one more time.
Making.
Yeah, or making. Yep. Yeah, so making long and peaceful relationships. Beautiful. Okay, so we got some of these big words down. What are some key ideas? And you guys can just tell me on the WebEx. What are some things that you think are key to this paragraph? Is there a spot or even a sentence or a small section?
People in the Indian country believed it was wise to show respect and gratitude to the spirit beings.
Ooh, I like that. That I would say is a key idea. Anybody else think there's something that is a key idea? You can come on the WebEx and tell me. There's a whole bunch in here.
I have another one.
Yeah, what's another one?
Same here.
Fostering long and peaceful relationships.
So let's say people would foster, so these people would foster long and peaceable relationships. Okay.
I also have one. The steady flow of generosity between communities.
Oh, it also facilitated social harmony. Yeah, so it helped with a kind of a peacefulness. I thought this one, gifts from creators, called for gifts in return. Beautiful. So let's write a couple of these. We don't have to write them all, and we don't have to write them word for word. We can write them kind of in a summary. So let's do people in Indian country believed it was wise to show respect and gratitude to spiritual beings. So I'm going to write here, people, what did it say again? I'm somebody that I have to see it a few times. So Indians thought it was wise to show respect to the creators with gifts. And then let's see. Steady flow of generosity between the communities facilitated social harmony. So gifts, I would say gifts helped create peace in the cities. I like to say like the cities or like the little towns and communities. So I want you to tell me then, since we kind of found things together, I want you to write in the chat, what do you think is a main idea that we could put? I want a bunch of people to write down, what do you think the main idea of gifts are? The part of gifts. Write in the chat. Ooh, I've got somebody that wrote something down. Sorry, I'm switching between things really quick. So what are the main idea of gifts? Ooh, okay, so I'm going to start reading what some people wrote. I only have 3 people. Everybody is doing this, so I want everybody to write something down. Or if it's something very similar, I want you to rewrite it, okay? So gifts are what makes equalness in Indian country. Gifts help the people get along and know that they are cared. Gifts are what make friendships. The Native Americans believed it was important to give back to each other in nature and create peace and harmony within. Ooh, that one has a lot of details in it. I'm going to wait. I want 2 more people to respond. Okay, so yeah, I am going to write down one of these. Actually, I'm going to take Berkeley's just because she put a lot of details in hers. And I'm going to write it in here. I'm going to expand on this. So the Native Americans believed it was important to give back to each other in nature to create peace and harmony. And then I'm gonna add on actually some people had talked about in their communities. Yeah, so beautiful. Ooh, and it helps them know that they're cared for and that they can get help if they need it. Yeah, you guys, a lot of times, if you ever read, and actually I used to teach it in my 6th grade English language arts. It's called the Birchbark House. It's about a Native American girl, and actually the author is from Minnesota, and it talks about a Native American girl that lived in one of the islands by Duluth, so in Superior. And they talk a lot about this gift ideas. And if you didn't share gifts or traded during the summertime, oftentimes you didn't survive the summer or survive the winter, because Minnesota winters, they can be kind of tough. If you ever want a really good book to read, I would definitely read. I'm going to write it here. Just you don't have to write this down, but it's called The Birchbark House by Eloise something. I can't remember her last name, but that one's it's based off of the Minnesota or the Ojibwe here. Beautiful. Okay, we've got one more section called Men and Women. Beautiful. So men and women, what I'm going to do again. Yes. Oh, Greta's there to raise her hand to read, I assume. So what I'm going to do, while Greta starts reading, and then if somebody else wants to read, I'm going to highlight words that might be confusing to me again. And then afterwards, we are going to again highlight some main ideas. So I want you to do this as well. Greta, do you want to read this first paragraph under men and women?
Sure. Men and women contributed equally to the well-being of Indian country communities. Their distinct but complementary gifts and skills were essential to the flourishing of human life as they transformed animals into clothing, plants into food, and children into adults.
Beautiful. Would somebody else like to read? Okay. Each gender. Sure.
All right. No, you can if you want.
Okay. Each gender made its own contribution to community life, and each had specific responsibilities to fulfill. Working in groups, whether it was in hunting, farming, fishing, or processing raw materials into finished goods, drew men and women together, forging powerful bonds that cemented the social unity and cohesion of the community. Ooh, there's a lot of big words in this one again, too. So, was there any words on here that you guys also think I should highlight that I missed?
No.
So you knew all the rest of the words, you guys?
Yeah, mostly.
Okay. So let me know if not, because that's why we're going through them now. Okay, so complementary is kind of like, unity. Unity would work. Or they go together. So if I think of like peanut butter and jelly, they're complementary. They go together in a sandwich. Okay, so they're unity or they go together.
Yeah, just like, green and red are like, they're not complementary.
Yeah, those are kind of opposites. You're right. So that's the opposite of complementary. Flourish means to like do well. Okay, so they're distinct but complementary, so their gifts and skills went together. They were essential so that human life would do well as they transformed animals into clothing, plants into food, and children into adults. Okay, each gender made its own contribution, so they made their own. Oh, hey, I almost need Greta, or does somebody have another word for contribution? I think of contribution.
They each made their share.
Yeah, so they kind of provided. Yeah, so their share. So they gave their part. I like that. Gave their part. Okay. So they gave their part to the community life. So they worked in groups. It drew men and women together, foraging or creating. So I'm going to say, we're going to go like this. Creating powerful bonds that you can say glued or cemented. That's why I think of cement. So glued, the social unity and cohesion. That would be like the togetherness. Or somebody said unity, togetherness, or unity. Unity would go well here. Yep. So it helped the community come together. Okay. So, now I want to find key ideas. So what were some key ideas of this again? Could somebody come on the WebEx and tell me what something that I could highlight as a key idea?
Well, men and women contributed equally to well-being in Indian country communities.
Okay, I like it. Anything else, you guys? There's a whole bunch of them in here.
I have one.
Yeah.
Maybe their distinct but complementary gifts and skills were essential to the flourishing of human life as they transformed animals into clothing. So basically, they worked together in peace instead of war.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, anything else in the second paragraph maybe is a key idea?
Each gender made its own contribution to community life.
Ooh, so each gender. So that was actually one of our cultural things is remember how we had gender roles possibly in your community? So if you think of your community, your culture web. So usually, and there's actually a huge article. Oh, I got to pull it up. I'm really excited. Okay, so usually the men, they would go out and hunt, and the women would go out and gather and forage. So they would find different things. And that was a gender role that people thought a lot of natives ended up doing for years. But there was a new article it was 2 weeks ago. So gender, let's see, women who hunt, let's see, new evidence. There was new evidence, actually. They found somebody the article is, did prehistoric women hunt? Okay, so I don't know if you saw this, but they were thinking a lot of natives and prehistoric women. So people in the olden days the women didn't just go gather food. They also hunted as well, and they found evidence. So if you see this article, it says, for a long time, it was assumed that hunting in prehistoric societies was primarily carried out by men. That was just kind of their culture. But there was a new study, and they found a female body buried alongside a whole bunch of hunting tools. And that was just recently. This was in January. This was November. Okay, so this was just a couple months ago that they found out that, maybe women did hunt. Okay, so that was a fun little tidbit. So beautiful. In my key ideas, let's write, men and women contributed equally to their communities. Let's write that. That's a good key idea. Men and women contributed equally to their communities. And let's write down something. Well, they used complementary gifts. And each gender. That actually kind of goes together. So their skills and gifts helped daily life. Let's do something like that. Community. Yes. Okay. Their skills and gifts. Let's use one of those words. They're complementary. Is that one of the words I used? Complementary skills. Skills and gifts helped make life easier. Oh, beautiful. So, in the main idea box, I want you to write, what do you think of the main idea of this section is? After you've written down the key ideas.
Can I say what I think the main idea is?
I want you to put it in the text box.
Okay.
Yep. Sorry, I'm just taking a picture of attendance. Okay, so they contributed. So men and women contributed equally to their communities. Their complementary skills and gifts help make life easier. Men and women both worked hard for their community. Men and women contributed equally and had strong rights for both of them. Okay, anything else? I don't want you to write I agree or disagree. I want you to write down what you think the main idea is. Talked about how men and women worked cohesively. Used one of those words, so together. Gender roles and skills for what women did and what men did. Men and women had skills to work hard for the communities. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to put together what you guys all said, and I'm going to say both men and women had skills to benefit their community. Community. Oh, goodness. Community. There we go. Man, hey, you guys, if you notice, our sentences didn't have to be super, super long, okay? They, in general, I have a couple more here. They had equally rights to do things, and men and women were both equally respected. They worked together in peace and harmony to make things work in their tribe, so they stayed alive in the hard times. I could tell you, listen to some of my comments. Okay, the final thing for today is we are going to write a summary. Okay, so we have this giant thing, okay, and we ended up, today, we ended up really going into detail. We looked at some of the vocabulary words. Look at half of my words are down here. I could have looked down here. I forgot. But we looked in detail. We found what this article was about. And remember, the title is A Brilliant Plan for Living. So we are going to write down a summary of what this whole article is about. Hint, hint. When you write a summary, look at the main ideas. Okay? So, number one, let's start from the top to the bottom. What was the title of this, you guys? Tell me on the web. You can just shout it out.
The Indian Country 8000, a brilliant plan for living.
Okay, so, hey, let's write that in the summary. So, we know, so we can say Native Americans had a brilliant plan for living. Okay. Number one, what was their first plan? Or actually, number one, what was our main idea for number one? Somebody can tell me out loud.
The Native Americans communicated their values by stories.
Ooh, okay. So our main idea, so they communicated, oh goodness, their values and I'll just say their values through stories. And plus we talked a little bit about with their creators, right? And their creators were involved, or they gave gifts to their creators. They gave gifts to their creators. Okay? Awesome. Man, this is easy. I'm just looking at what I already wrote. Hey, hint, hint. It's supposed to be easy. Number two, what was the main idea of gifts? Can somebody tell me out loud?
That the Native American world believed it was important to give gifts back to each other and nature because it gave them good crops, health, and much more, and also helped with peace and harmony within.
Okay, could somebody summarize that for me in different, so I have this written here. Could somebody summarize that for me of what I could put that here? So how could I say that in a little bit differently?
Gifts were very important in the Indian tribe because it showed equalness in their communities.
Oh, there you go. So gifts are very important in the Indian, or in the tribes. Because what? Did you say like because?
Because it showed equalness in their communities.
Ah, I like it. Showed equalness in the communities. Beautiful. And then finally, what was the last main idea? Could somebody read it out loud for me? Men and women. I'll read it really quick. Both men and women had skills to benefit their community. Okay, so what could we write here? We could probably write, oh, I forgot a T. So men and women were both important. Oh man, I can't spell today. Important. Let's see. They had a brilliant plan for living. They communicated their values through stories. They gave gifts to their creators. Gifts are very important to the tribes because it showed equitableness, that's the word I want to use, in the communities. Men and women were both important to provide these gifts and skills. Beautiful. Oh, you guys are so good at this. This was super easy. You guys must know your main ideas and key details pretty well. And those that participated, you guys, when I have you write things in the chat, it's because later on when I do your grades, I see who is following along with us. because since we do a lot of these together, I want to make sure that I can see in the chat that you understand what's going on as well. Okay?
What was
So,
the final part? Men and women were.
both important to provide these gifts and skills. Okay? So, I would like you to turn this in. Some of you guys turned it in already. We didn't finish it, but I would like you to turn this in now into Schoology boxes, and it's 2B. Is that the word? Yes, 2B boxes and bullets organizer. One thing to know is that I always put the title, so whatever the title of the document is here, that's what it's called in Schoology, okay? So if you need to search for it, you can search for boxes and bullets, and it should bring it up. So you can turn this in, and then that is all that I have for today. I would like you to read 30 minutes tonight, okay? For homework.
I already did the